claim and how whoever should be punished in what way. The law is part of his elaborate mind control explanation of what he does, but his judgment is the real thing. He can go crazy. He can just ignore the law and say, I know this is the law, but it's nonsense and this is what's happening. And then at the higher court, they might appeal for that reason, and they might agree with the lower judge and say, you know what, he's right, this is stupid. That's what I'm saying. It's really the trial. The trial is the true demonstration of justice. That's when the rubber hits the road. Everything else before that is smoke. So the laws never actually apply to the facts in front of you. The statutes we set up for murder, rape, kidnapping, theft, none of those are about the person in front of you.
Check this one out. I'll give you, this is an example. I just Googled from Business Insider the counts against SBF. I'm just going to go to count number 7. It says conspiracy to commit money laundering. It says that he made at least 2 monetary transactions over $10,000 of funds that were derived from criminal activity. Now, let's say that he did that with Bitcoin and not with dollars. Okay?
Yeah, that would still be money laundering.
Why?
Because you're transferring the money into you're doing whatever the thing is called. The launder.
I guess we'd have to look at it.
If you were to buy bearer bonds with it, it'd be the same. If he puts it into Bitcoin, he's just throwing his money into things. He could give it to a guy in exchange for a rock, and with an agreed upon value of $1 zillion, and then he trades the rock to somebody because of the piece of paper that says it's $1 zillion. All that's money laundering.
I guess we would have to look at the specific language of the statute. I was just trying to come up with language problem. I was saying let's say that the language of the law said money, it specifically said you have to do this with money. I'm asking you.
Yeah, the money would be what people put in.
Yeah, I understand. I get the concept. I'm just trying to. I'm just playing hypotheticals here because I see that everyone's trying to fit this new stuff into existing laws and they're saying, look, we don't need to make new regulations to be very specific about how this thing that acts differently.
That's not true. They're not trying to fit it into existing laws. They're being slow and cautious. They're watching and they're trying to build a proper regulatory structure. I don't know that I trust them to do a decent job, but I know they're working on it. I've even heard them. They've spoken to me about it.
Hey?
Yeah.
Spoken to you?
People from the SEC, people big funds arguing against the SEC's ruling.
So do they think that
lawyers have little clubs of people to learn about stuff. I did this when I was doing more securities work.
How do I get into the club?
You could join. I don't know if you can join if you're not a lawyer. Are you a lawyer?
I could be.
Okay, so be a lawyer, and then you can be in the club. But it's also not the best way.
Is that a challenge?
It's not a challenge. I'm just telling you how to get into a club.
You're saying I have to pass the LSAT, and I have to go through the whole.
Well, you can also read the law. Have you ever heard of reading the law?
No, what is that?
That's how Abraham Lincoln became a lawyer. He worked for a law firm for 10 years, reading the law, and then he took the bar.
I think you can do that in some states, but not in others.
Some states, yes.
Yeah.
It could be New York.
In Los Angeles, there's a law school called the People's Law School, and the former mayor of LA went to this law school, and it's not an accredited law school. And if you go there, I guess you can sit for the LSAT. But I guess the point is, what's the point of going?
The bar.
Or I'm sorry, the bar. Yeah. What's the point of going to a school that's unaccredited? But the pass rate for the bar, or to admit into the bar and passing that exam, it's I think it's 10% of the college graduates actually are able to pass the bar. So
that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
I think that if I'm not mistaken, Kim Kardashian attempted to read the law, and she worked for 4 years.
She didn't get it.
Firm.
You have to make a case for it. Every time you become a lawyer, you're appealing to the bar to permit admission. And I make my case, right? I went to law school. I passed the bar. They also do a fitness thing. Have you ever been arrested for a crime? And then I have to sit down with people, and then there's swearing in. But if you were to read the law, you'd be doing all of that without the law school credentials, and you'd have to be arguing your case at every level to sit for the bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you've been reading the law for 10 years, it shouldn't be too hard.
And then I get into the first club, which is called being part of the bar association. and then
from the bar association, there are smaller clubs, especially in New York.
Okay.
Simplest one was the New York City bar. That was where I heard the conference from the SEC guy.
So do they think that Bitcoin is a security?
No, we don't think it's a security.
It's
not a currency. Mostly, my guess is they're going to carve out a new definition.
Do you know that? So you know that securities law has to be tried in federal court, right?
Yeah.
Right, because it's
it doesn't have to be. You can try it in state court. There are state securities laws. It's just.
Are there? No, the SEC handles all security laws.
The SEC is the regulatory body created by the SEC Act of 1942 or something. But the states have their own laws, right? There's a New York stock exchange and a Chicago, mercantile exchange, right?
Yeah, but I think the crime can be committed in New York, but I think that the district attorney has to file in federal district court in New York because securities are under the jurisdiction of the SEC.
No, I'm telling you, you can sue in state court regarding securities. It is a property, and it is an interest. I agree with you that the essence of securities is regulated by the SEC, all of the regulatory stuff, what you're filing, how things are treated.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on this.
I'm just telling you, it is a federal system, the regulatory regime of the SEC, but securities themselves are legal concepts, and states can have their own rules about them.
Well, here it gets interesting. You know that a dollar is sometimes a security and sometimes it's not.
A dollar? What, you mean when it's backed by gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fiat now.
Yeah. Well, no, there's no law that says that a 1 ounce American Eagle, Silver Eagle is not a dollar. It's definitely a dollar, but it's not a security.
What do you mean? You're saying that a thing that's worth more than $1 is still exchanged for only $1?
No, I'm saying that under the law, a Silver Eagle is not a security, while a Federal Reserve note is. Because that's under the law, not under the law, but as the law has been interpreted by the Supreme Court.
Let's be very mostly a security.
Because it's a bill of exchange.
It has no inherent value. That's what it is. It's a piece of paper guaranteeing something.
Yeah, it specifically, up until 1963, said payable to the bearer on demand.
Right.
Right? And then they removed that language, but they didn't change the law.
What do you mean? What law?
Yeah.
All they have to do is change the language, right? The dollar is its own contract.
No, because there's no, the dollar is not its own contract.
Why not?
Because the contract
representing.
Well, it's a receipt for a contract, but it's not the contract itself.
Yeah, it's issued by the Treasury.
It's issued by the Treasury, yes.
With signatures on it, affirming it to be a U.S. dollar.
Yes, but it doesn't. It's not written out to anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be written out. It's to the bearer.
So it's a blank instrument, so to speak.
A blank instrument with a defined value and meaning.
Right.
Right? Just like a book.
And that meaning, which used to say printed on it, payable to the bearer on demand, no longer contains that language, but continues to be the understanding.
It's backed by gold. Now it's backed by the face and credit of the United States.
That's what I'm saying. That's never changed. See, the definition of a dollar was made in the Coinage Act of 1792. That's never been changed. That's never been overturned.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Immediately after the signing of the Constitution, which
Act.
Let's start with the Constitution. Article 1 of the Constitution says that money is gold and silver, right? And that, just to invalidate Article 1, you'd have to have whatever it is, the 18th Amendment that would say Article 1 is invalid now, the sections that deal with the monetary powers and disabilities of the United States. Right?
I think you might be misunderstanding Article 1, Section
The Congress cannot pass an act which says something that goes against the Constitution. They have to pass an amendment to the actual Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land.
This says no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque, reprisal, coin, money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver, coin, a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility.
Yep.
That's a state.
You just said it. No state shall.
No state.
What are you looking at? Section 8?
Section 10.
Section 10. Look at Section 8.
Section 8. To borrow money?
No.
To coin money. Regulate the value thereof
there you go.
And fix the standard of weights and measures.
So right there, the Congress tells you something very specific. It says, the Constitution tells you that because Congress has the right to fix or to regulate the value and set the standards of weights and measures, they're telling you that money has to have a weight and measure, right? If you want to change these powers,
that Congress reserves the power to fix the standard of weights and measures.
Well, you can't have a standard without weights and measures. Let's put that out there. Obviously, right?
Well, I'm focusing on
a standard by definition is a weight and a measure.
Okay, you're focusing a lot on the nouns. I'm focusing on the verb because that's the active word, and it's fix. They can fix it.
But fix is the same thing as...
Whatever you think it is or should be, they'll change it because they're right.
Well, yeah, because it also uses the word regulate. Fix and regulate are interchangeable.
Regulate the value thereof and of foreign coin. Coin money, regulate the value of and of foreign coin. I don't know.
Yeah, so they get to decide whether foreign gold can be accepted as a tender, right?
It looks more like what you're describing is in the regulation of the money, right? They regulate the value thereof the money, and of foreign coin. I think it's supposed to be.
Is Kamala Harris just a blathering idiot but a nice person, or is she just?
It's trying to apply to the foreign coin because it's sticking that in.
No, it can't. It can't modify obviously foreign coin. What it can decide is foreign coin.
Regulate the value of foreign coin, but it can fix the standard of weights and measures for foreign coin.
Yeah, exactly. It can say, look, it can say a German Krugerrand must contain these characteristics in order to constitute a legal Krugerrand.
And it's worth 2 of the US dollar because we say so.
Right.
Because we fix the standard of weights and measures for both our money and foreign coin, which would explain why they're doing the weird double apply. They're trying to make clear that regulate the value thereof is only to the money they coin. And the foreign coin, then they fix the standard of weights and measures for the whole lot.
Right, there you go.
So they have all the power. If you control the weights and measures,
who has all the power?
Whoever can fix the standard of weights and measures.
Okay, so and remember what you read me in Section 10. What can the state not do?
State can't coin its own money or issue anything that isn't in gold, right?
Exactly. So let's go back to when we were talking about federal versus state charges. If a state charges you with using something that isn't a dollar, that they claim acts like a dollar, they can't do that.
Why not?
Because they can't fix the standards of weights and measures. They can't, even a foreign coin.
You're talking about what, counterfeiting?
Suppose that you're accused of counterfeiting. It would have to be federal charges. Because the state would not have the power to say, look, you use this in a fashion that constitutes...
Right, you're saying they couldn't bring a criminal charge against you because you didn't violate any law that the state had a right to officiate over.
Exactly. I mean, that's part of it. That's only part of it.
But the state can, arrest you for the feds.
Sure. But what I'm trying to say to you is that this goes back to our conversation of old laws being applied to new things, like in the SBF case. he did certain things with Bitcoin that you can hit him. Well, no, I'm saying you can. Let's say the language of the law specifically says the word money, and it doesn't say the word Bitcoin. The Supreme Court has been very clear that there's a rules of procedure as to how you have to interpret statutes for the purpose of the criminal litigation.
Right.
Okay. So that is by the plain meaning of
You're
the statute.
wondering if a state can make its own crypto?
No, I'm wondering whether a state can call crypto money because the only law that they have to work with says the word money.
No, I don't think they're calling crypto money.
They kind of are, though. You have to see the charges, and this Business Insider article does not list the actual charges in the statutes, but you have to see it. No, here's what they're calling Bitcoin. Wait, let's be very clear what they're calling Bitcoin in the SBF one. They're calling it funds.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a second. Now we have another problem. Okay. The reason that they're calling it funds and not money is because funds is an element of money.
Yeah. Funds, I think,
just because, but you can have funds of anything. You can have funds of ham sandwiches.
Right, fund is just stores.
Exactly. Yeah, Isa will understand this. Fondos. Right?
Yeah, but it has a correlation to money. I mean, when you
it's usually money. I'm trying to figure out the etymology.
Yeah, but it's very important to clarify that just because
bottom-based landed estate.
Yeah, that's probably the land. Right, it actually comes from land. That's correct.
So it's like real estate funds.
Real estate, yeah. Yeah. So
I guess the idea of funds as opposed to real estate is it's saying there's more reality to it than just money because it's allocated for a use.
Right, but here's the important part. You under the law, and I want to hear if you've got arguments against this. You suppose you're prosecuting SBF, you don't have the power to dissect the elements of words in order to see what sticks. So let me give you an example. Okay, here comes the example. All right, I'm accused of violating a dog law, and I have a cat. All right. And I say to you, hey, I am not in violation of the dog law because my cat is not a dog.
Right.
And then, now suppose I say that, well, the language dog, it's kind of vague. How exactly does it apply to a cat? And you go, well, let's look at the definition for dog. It's a furry creature that has 4 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and is incapable of speaking.
They're going to have both of their experts up, and the judge is going to ignore both of them and say a dog is a dog.
Right. No. Right. You're correct there. It is up to the judge for matters of law. Right. It should be. You shouldn't even have a trial for that. Right. The judge should just say, "Look, here's the definition." Period. Right.
Well, he can. It depends on how forgiving.
Now check this out. So when you say that the law is vague and ambiguous, that's called it's a defensive tactic called invoking the rule of lenity, right? Any law that is ambiguous and vague should be seen in an advantageous way to the defendant, right? You know about this principle.
You can make your case.
No. This is a well-established principle.
Makes sense.
It's evolved over time, but it's been the standard for, I don't know, over 50 years. Okay, so
Diego, I just got to interrupt and just say that I just had a vision, and I have seen Mixed in a black robe on a bench. This Talmud Chacham, this Esquire will one day become a judge. I guarantee it. And Mixed, if it ever happens, just can you maybe get the judge over here in Chicago to void out this $300,000 garnishment? Thanks, Mixed.
Anyway,
as a proud citizen of the state of New York, I know that the term judge is applied loosely to the people in Chicago.
Right. I want to see where Diego's going with this. Go on, Diego. Cat and dog. And the judge
cat and dog.
the definition.
So the common way in which these Bitcoin guys have defended themselves is by saying that the law is vague and ambiguous because it says money. I'm telling you this because I've read through I have high interest in this stuff. So they say that the law is ambiguous. How is it that the word money in a statute applies to Bitcoin, right? And the moment that they invoke the rule of lenity, they create they open a door, and the door that they open is that the prosecutor can say, well, let's analyze the elements of the word, just like I said right now. So a dog is a furry creature with 2 ears, 2 eyes, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, a dog is a cat for the purposes of the statute. Now, let's say that the defendant says, I know exactly what the definition of a dog is. A dog is not a cat, period. Now the door is not open for dissecting the elements. Now we have to look at every single element of the definition of the word dog. Now, this thought process that I'm expressing to you right now, as far as I know, I'm the only human being that has ever proffered this. I don't know, I keep searching for information about this line of reasoning.
What you refer to as the rule of lenity, I call it rule of strict construction. And yeah, you're right, you have to narrowly tailor the law in favor of the defendant. But
because the law has to be assumed to have a meaning. It can't be.
And it has to be reduced. We don't want it overbroad because then it applies to anything the judge just wants it to. I agree with you. But that is addressed, or is supposed to be addressed, through the litigation.
Yeah, that's fine. But now let's suppose this. Let's suppose, going back to the dog and cat example, let's suppose that you were charged with a dog violation, and you say, I have a cat, here's proof of my cat, and the prosecutor, you'd never invoke the rule of lenity as a defense. The prosecutor says, well, look, every other case in which other defendants have invoked the rule of lenity, the adjudication on that particular controversy has resulted in the judge finding that, in fact, a cat is a dog. And you're like, well, wait a second. I didn't say that it's vague and ambiguous. I said it is not. I have not opened the door for the analysis of the elements and seeing what fits, right? I haven't said, no, a cat isn't I can't see how a cat could be a dog. And you say, well, look, they both have 2 ears and 2 eyes and a mouth, and they're furry. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, not really.
Sorry, am I okay? If a person claims that
you're trying to split hairs eternally to avoid judgment.
Isn't that how the law works?
No.
Don't they call it a Talmudic put? What's the word? Pill put?
Pill pull.
Pill pull. Yeah. Isn't that the game?
The term pill pull.
Look, I'm trying to decide whether I want to be a lawyer or not. So you got to help me out here.
Okay, slow down. The term pill pull is an insult. It's a comment of non-study. Think of it as scholarship without insight. I referenced a dozen people, and I said how some of them say things that are similar to each other, but I proffered no synthesis, no idea. I've simply brought a bunch of references before you. That is pill pull. Okay. It's splitting hairs on meaningless distinctions. That would be a different type of bad.
But meaningless distinctions is not drawing the parallels between money and Bitcoin.
But you see what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is all of the splitting hairs that you're trying to do, you can do them. You can do any of them. That's why we have
whether the judge will buy it or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why you get like 30 pages uninterrupted to publish whatever the hell you want about how right you are or not. Like what?
Wait.
And then it's back and forth, and the judge just sits there, and he honestly probably doesn't even need to read much of it because both of you and the other side are reading it so fervently that you're responding to each other.
But suppose, right? Because now we're not talking about dogs and cats. Now we're talking about Bitcoin and money. If I'm correct about Article 1 of the Constitution, then the judge, even if it were true that the juristic meaning of money is, as the Constitution says, limited by Sections 8 and 10, then you would be in a situation which, if the judge were to say that money was something other than what is mentioned in Article 1, she'd be in violation of the law. As a representative of the state, she would be putting the state in a position that it is barred from
what
doing.
the judge is doing. He's officiating over the litigation. If you want to criticize anyone for not bringing up that topic, it would be the defense. The prosecution is going to lay whatever great arguments they can with whatever manipulation exists within the English language, all at their disposal to convict this guy because they think he's evil. And they're trying to make their case. So they put the best argument forward. If the defense misses constitutional claims, weird, strict construction claims that you want to come up with, if they miss it, then it's not argued. And most likely, they don't want to do hair splitting that they don't think is going to be useful, that is going to work. I grant you, they might have missed this about like arguing whether or not it's money. We shouldn't even concede that point. But it's also possible they conceded the point because that helps their client. And then I'll tell you even further, they might be conceding the point to help their client, as is their obligation, and the state might be crafting their case with every concession to make their own law. Welcome to America.
Welcome to America. That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a very good
all
point.
game. That's what I'm telling you. It's an elaborate game back and forth, each one trying to push the envelope, and each one given a little bit of space because they might be wrong. The people that are going crazy with innovation, they might need to be regulated. The regulators that have this thing fit, and they know people are finding loopholes and getting outside of their purview, well, maybe they've been regulating too much. The courts are the essence of everything. The courts are the only place where anything actually matters. That's when someone is pissed off enough to put millions of dollars into a lawyer's pocket to prove to the world that you are a piece of shit.
Let me ask you this, Michael, Your Honor. Do you agree that the one thing that shouldn't be done is to leave the meaning of a word up to the jury?
The meaning of that doesn't happen. Meaning is a word they're not giving to the jury. That's literally removed from their power. They're deciders of fact, not definition.
So then, let's pause here. If a word is under contention, before the trial commences, the case before the jury, and one side is demanding that the judge instructs the jury, charge the jury with the definition, so that we're not talking past each other.
Right.
And the judge refuses to do so.
Yeah, that would be a litigated definition. If we litigated the definition, right? I say money should be like this. You say money should be like that. We argue it out. The court reviews it, not in front of the jury, because that would obviously prejudice them, since we're talking about what to tell them words mean. Then the judge is going to rule. He's going to say, we're using this definition. He picks his own. It doesn't really matter which. Whatever he decides, that is appealable. A higher court can say, this guy got the wrong definition. Right? So when he decides on the definition, he's actually thinking about the people that will judge him. He's thinking, A, what does this mean? And also, is this going to be an appeal, a reversed ruling, which is not good for a judge's reputation?
Yeah, understood. Yeah. So that's what would have to happen, is that if there was a word under contention, for example, I say this specifically because what big countries are interested in is the definition of word money, which is not defined in any law.
That would be a way in. You would say, I can't have a jury trial until we define on what these terms mean, and then we're going to pass a ruling, and then, no matter what, appeal the decision. And then get it going up into the Supreme Court.
Mixed Diego, can I just interrupt and say this is actually...
with your own definition and you fight it to the Supreme Court, then you control the word.
This is actually how I met Diego, because he was talking about praxeology, and to me it just sounded like a made-up philosophy. So I started calling him out all the time about his praxeology, and then sure enough, I go to San Diego, I'm at a gas station, and somebody screams out, "Hey, Edmund!" And I look back and I'm like, oh, it must be that praxeologist.
Yeah, so Michael, I don't think we ever talked about this, but my interest in another lifetime was economics and praxeology. So money is praxeology is a science invented by a Jewish guy named Ludwig von Mises, who escaped the Nazis.
I
Are
know
you familiar?
Ludwig von Mises, but
Are you familiar with her?
Of
Yeah.
course, he's familiar with Ludwig von Mises.
I've studied Mises, but I haven't studied Praxis.
Oh, you've studied Mises. Okay.
Yeah.
He's an Austrian School of Economics
Then-
too.
Oh well, then he's in a very small club now, and we're in the same.
Me and a friend of mine from Yeshiva, we got big into Austrian economics. He's a bit more anarchistic than I am. I'm more of a minarchist.
Yeah.
He's more autistic or less autistic, and don't forget the most elite club is according to these Black Hebrew Israelites is the white man tiny hat club. So, Ribono Shalom.
Well, he, like me, is an Orthodox Jewish Kohen.
There you go. And they both get it, so that's good.
Yeah,
So
we don't fight communism.
What makes a Ko a Hain, and what makes a Hain a Ko?
You're saying it's like an
I like too.
Psychologist?
Sorry, Michael. I was laughing over what you said.
You're saying like it's an economist version of psychology?
No, it's not. It's just it's economics applied to all things that are outside of the market.
Okay,
so, for example,
human behavior.
So talking to me right now, other than doing something you could be doing, that's the opportunity cost. So it's the same economic logic, but applied to things that are there's no money transacted.
That's no money.
Sounds fun. I hadn't heard this.
Yeah.
Was this all at the same time? So
But
weird.
this is what Mises talks about all the time, about human behavior and human nature and human
Makes sense.
action.
But
Like
I'll
we are
look into
doing here right now, we're doing a market of ideas, exchange.
Yes.
yes, I gotta say that based on my enjoyment of Ludwig von Mises, nitpicking and coming up with different conclusions that are innovative and different, I think I will enjoy being a lawyer. So I might actually pursue that based on the conversation we've had too.
Being a lawyer.
I thought you already pursued that.
Well, I have gone to the school, but I've never sat down and taken a test.
I took the LSAT. I applied to law schools, but Diego, you do realize that your opportunity cost and your return on your investment and your cost benefits analysis. It's just not worth it.
Well, no. 1 second. Like it depends on what value you want to put into the law degree.
Well, it sounds like
What's the point of it?
He wants to liberate Bitcoin.
You don't need to be a lawyer to do that. You just need to hire a lawyer. What do you mean?
No, because they need to really get it.
No, I'm serious.
Exactly.
No, listen, you're talking about like 3 years, and like I guarantee law school is not going to give you a refined understanding of currency.
Oh no, he doesn't need
Even if you
understanding
focus
of
your
currency.
studies to try and get there, you're still going to get like basics. It's like kindergarten.
He has all the understanding he needs. Now, what he needs is the bar so that he can actually get into that.
I mean, like what? You're looking for like a political career? You want a couple of letters behind you?
Well, I'd like to defend guys with a lot of money like SBF.
Okay, so you actually want to practice this type of law.
Because I think that argument that I put forward to you about the meaning of words would get my client off.
Okay, so you're saying you want to be on like cutting edge currency security litigation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I didn't think about it like that, but yeah.
Do that. I'd say build it, but I'd say honestly, start outside of law school. Like first, find someone that's engaged in litigation you find like moving and interesting that you'd want to participate. Read up on it. I wouldn't say like try to show off to the guy, but like see if you can get him coffee. If like he'll take you as an intern to just like show up and pitch in. You're good enough with a stapler and a pen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but Diego is way far beyond that.
It doesn't matter.
Issa, you gotta.
None of that matters. You're a fresh body, right?
Yep.
These things require people and interest and hard work. And if someone is genuinely calling out of the blue to some like sad attorney in like a sad little room in the corner of a state building, and he calls up and says, "I want to help," he's going to be suspicious as anything. But as a result of like the practice, he wants to help. He'll like give you a day, he'll give you a time if you're like a decent guy, especially if you have a resume behind you.
You want me to act like Sandra Bullock in Time to Kill?
Yes, exactly. And it's not like even unheard of. Like it's getting stranger in this day and age.
I thought she was better in the net.
Yes.
Yes.
But the point is that she comes up and shows her resume, and at
It's
first
also
Matthew
very
McConaughey's like,
fully trained.
Diego, do you remember that
Yeah.
scene where she's ordering a pizza and she's like clicking.
I mean, how could you turn that resume away?
Oh my God, Lou's here.
But I'm just saying, like, if your interest is a specific area, prove it. Get somewhere interesting with someone doing something interesting, and then ask his advice on like ways to focus. And go to like a cheapo law school where you find a good professor, right? Find
at the University of American Samoa.
Where I don't know. What I'm saying
University of
you gotta
Phoenix.
focus on is the
Law
people.
school was great.
No, that's where Saul Goodman went. Just
No. Listen, it's not about. Don't cheap out on the
That's where
law
Saul
school.
Goodman
University
of America.
I'm saying that the law school name doesn't matter. What you want to do is similar to Jimmy. You want to find the lawyer you want to be like. You want to hang out with him, and you want to find his favorite professor from law school, or the law school professor that used to work at the SEC, and you want to chase those guys. You want to find the people and prove that you're doing that. Then they will enrich you and help you on your path.
David and Diego both, they don't like the word mentor, because every time I brought it up to them, they rejected it. So
No, that's not true.
The word mentor is a lot like the word mentat from the movie Dune.
What about Jeremy Piven in Runaway Jury? I think he approaches Dustin Hoffman.
What about the movie The Firm, Mixed? What do you think about the movie The Firm? Do you think that sometimes law firms become criminal mafia organizations?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, seriously, I don't like.
They didn't become a criminal
I like Aaron Sorkin.
mafia organization. They represented mafia people.
Yeah, but you know that there's no yelling in the courtroom, Michael. You know that.
If Tom Cruise just minded his own business, everything would have been spectacular.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
oh my god.
Bueno y Shalom. I have really enjoyed, Diego, this conversation with Mixed, and I want to let all you know that I've put it on TikTok and YouTube under Venture Capital Domains and Bitcoin Law Advice. Thank you all very little. And David Bobadilla, when I'm finished speaking, you can unmic. God bless you all and have a great Sunday. Bueno y Shalom.
Take care.
Shaloila, Shaloila. But I thought that you. So, how many years have you done of law school?
Me?
No, Diego.
I mean, he said 3. I did 4. So I must be doing something wrong.
Did you graduate law school?
Did you pass the bar?
Yeah,
Okay.
more or less. I mean,
was it in California or was
I
it in
can't
New
get
York?
into
But
details.
not let him speak.
I can't get into details, but
Docs.
What do you
No,
mean?
but you did 4 years.
No, I mean, like,
graduate or not?
I mean,
Let's just say he never went to Michael's and had to buy a frame, more or less.
Let's just say he dated the professor.
Brownie, what
That's
he
a good
means
one.
is that he fucked lawyer women for 4 years. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, Michael, is that I'm probably not good to be put in the first job I ever had, basically out of college, that second job I had, I was a secretary of sorts, or a personal assistant. I don't remember what the title was.
Sit on your boss's lap.
And it was a female law
It's
firm.
called an executive assistant.
It was a female law firm
She would sit on his lap.
on Madison Avenue. And
Oh,
and
that's
then-
all gonna be tomorrow.
Where on
and that is, once I went through all the available tail that was
54th and Madison.
even,
Was it 54?
Oh.
I think it was a little bit further, not far from there though, not far.
What is it?
I remember because all I had to do was walk. I basically had to just walk down 50.
What is 54 from Madison?
54th and Madison is. I just know
Around,
the area. I
Grand
used to work
Central,
at
Terminal.
52nd.
That's like where all the
I think there's a
ad,
middle something over on 54th.
all the ad
Oh
companies
God, I
were.
can only listen to anyone.
I'll tell you how I got the job.
Yeah, all the ad companies were at Madison Avenue, north of
Yes.
Grand Central.
Now it's a bunch of law firms.
I was. This was after the collapse, and I had no money, so I would go every day to the Barnes and Noble, and it was over there, kind of
That one's
Midtown.
on like 48th.
Yeah. So I would go there.
40th and 5th.
Yep. And I would sit down and just read books all day because I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then when
The first.
And then one day, an old Jewish lady started asking me, thinking I was working there, and I helped her out finding a book. And then she just was like, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm unemployed." And she's like, "Oh my god!" And she hired me.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and she called me her bubala. And then
did you do her?
yeah, half of the rest of the law firm, which is that's why I said because it's all a woman's law firm. That's not a good environment for me.
Fox into the hen house.
Yeah, it was bad.
It's so funny.
And I remember there was another guy. So it was me and another guy who was also a secretary on the other side. This was a pretty big firm. And his name was Eli Fishbein, but he didn't ever go that far. So we were but he was watching me do this over time. Yeah?
Yeah. Was he tall and blonde?
No, he's got dark hair.
All right.
But anyway, we were like the same age. And
The woman and you?
no, me and him. We were two young guys, and they were attractive, middle-aged, powerful women.
I mean, what was Diego supposed to do?
Oh, so you were a professional simp.
A professional simp?
I'm just saying that.
You were bowing to strong professional.
I mean, yeah, it was all. I didn't have strong opinions on these things at that time.
Professional.
Like I said, Diego helped the successful New York female attorney find something she liked at Barnes & Noble.
That's true, Lou. That's her accent, Mike. It's her fault.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a long time ago, but it was an experience. Oh, but that's the only reason why I don't like to work in corporate environments. I'd rather be more one of those guys that
Diego, where's your apartment now in New York? Is it in Hell's Kitchen? I forget.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
You'd rather work with what?
I'd rather have the law firm that Matt Damon has in The Rainmaker at the end, or when he gets with Danny DeVito.
Firm doing slip and falls.
But, well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather be like two guys in an office, one secretary. Like none of the shenanigans, like being in an office building where I'm going to see women, wearing provocative blouses and stuff.
No, I hear you. You're saying you don't want any of the pretense of we're making this a safe space for everybody. You just want two guys hanging out, getting work done, making money.
Yeah, safe spaces and stuff is not for me. Like it's too much. I have to act like Mike Pence if I'm going to be able to, make money in that environment. I can't be.
Well, what are you doing now? Do you have a job?
I can't be working for Eli Lilly and seeing every secretary that walks by, type of thing.
Do you have binders full of women?
No, I threw away my little.
Was that a Freudian slip there, David?
What?
I feel like this is a deja vu moment. Like we've all been here before.
I thought you were leaving a Republican.
Again, I repeat it. This does feel like deja vu.
Yeah.
I guess when a group of people. What I'm saying is, I guess.
A movie I wanted to recommend to you, Jefferson. Have you ever seen?
Until you ran away, Republican.
Oh my god. Which movie?
What movie? Yeah.
My dinner.
Sorry, David has
He's please stop talking over people.
I'm not been talking over people.
Wow, you're just so fucking rude.
What movie?
That's what somebody who's talking over somebody would say.
My Dinner with Andre.
No, I don't know.
You do realize what we're doing here on Clown House is technically Dinner with Andre, aka Dinner for Schmucks, and you are all participants, including yourself, Mixed-Ed.
We talked about it the last time.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I get the feeling that this is deja vu.
Also, it is a deja vu, actually.
The only good scene in that movie was when he went to the IRS. That was it.
I just find it so funny that we're repeating ourselves as patternistically as a pattern, just coming here and doing all this milieu. We're repeating it over and over. So clearly, it has to be something dynamic. What is it that's so special about these conversations and how they randomly form?
That
We come
hang
together.
out with each other and we share each other's energy and voices.
That's what I'm
And
thinking.
this is how we bond.
stop talking over.
Republican, if you had friends, you would understand it.
You know, David, you're so very aggressive and negative towards me. I don't appreciate it.
Well, listen to this. Between 800 and 900,000 years ago, humans, or Homo sapiens, lost 98.7% of their population. They went from 135,000 as a population down to 1280.
Where did they lose them?
We don't know why. It's just the genetics show that there was diversity between 8 and 900,000 years ago, and then it plummeted from 135,000 different participants to 1280.
So diversity will kill us.
Yeah, I guess that's the Guatemalan take on it.
Well, let's just say the numbers could have been a lot higher. They could have been somewhere in the 6 million.
You do realize what we're doing here on Congress is technically aka dinner for schmucks, and you are all participants, including yourself in the chat. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I get the feeling that this is deja vu.
Would anyone like to hear the word of the day? It's rubicund, having a ruddy complexion, high-colored. Rubicund, as in the Hebrew Israelites accuse Ashkenazi Jews of rubicund features.
Punch with a T?
Let me ask you this one, Michael. If someone accused me of pontificating and they constantly use just that particular term, would you, if you were a Roman Catholic, would you take offense to it?
She's
No.
building a case. Be careful.
I don't think so, but I'm not a Roman Catholic, so I don't really know.
You know what I mean, though? You understand
Oh
what I
my
mean by
God,
that word?
this is a breakfast question. If you had breakfast, how would you feel? Oh, I don't know, because I didn't have breakfast. Yeah,
No,
if you were a Roman Catholic, we know you're not.
Ooh, I see. No, I'm just, okay, does it offend you, Michael, if someone says, oh, that seller on the street Jewed me?
I don't think that's
Sure, yeah.
I don't think the
Okay.
other one is the same as the breakfast.
Pontificate is not an insult on Roman Catholics?
Yes, it is.
I think it is. It accuses you of dogmatic lecturing, no?
No, but it means like preaching,
Yeah,
right?
but as if the Pope doesn't have
Pompous and dogmatic. I guess.
sorry, I got cut out. As if the Pope doesn't have the right to preach, or the
Well, okay, so it's saying to speak or write and give your opinion about something as if you knew everything about it and as if only your opinion was correct.
Hello?
It's a bit of an insult, I guess.
Well, there's only one opinion that matters. It's God's opinion.
By the way, I should mention this. Yesterday
Does
I was
God have
watching
opinions? I think God has just facts.
this facts. I was watching last night, just because Michael mentioned it, Aaron Sorkin, I was watching Chicago 7.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah. I didn't finish it, but the fact that some of the things that went down in the courtroom are absolutely insane.
Yeah. That's the better part. I didn't actually love the movie. It was okay.
Yeah.
Sorkin has gotten a little weaker.
Yeah.
Lately, I prefer his non-legal stuff. Right? Like, I enjoyed Molly's Game pretty well. I think he had a couple of other ones that were decent. But I was a little upset because the Chicago trial is epic. And, like, I've seen documentaries about what went down there, and it's nuts. And I feel like, I don't know, he didn't add as much to it. He tried to, do his own.
Well, he did a good deal in the Social Network.
But they gagged the black man like in the movie Bananas.
Oh my God, black men in bananas?
No. Has everybody seen the movie Bananas? Okay, well, part of the movie is a courtroom drama, and Woody Allen gets gagged and tied to a chair, and then he has to question his witnesses with a ball gag in his mouth. Not a ball gag, because it's not BDSM, but you know what I mean. He's gagged. Anyway, they put a they restrained and put a gag on the black guy.
Yeah.
And this really happened because he was constantly complaining about not having an attorney.
Yeah. And they didn't
That's
know
insane.
the people that were there because they were just throwing him in with the others.
Right. That's insane.
It was messed up, yeah.
Like, the fact that happened in New York boggles the mind. And honestly, like, people think that 1969 was a long time ago. Like, it's really not.
That's when they had whorehouses in Times Square.
But you also got to remember that the world has changed drastically.
That's what everyone wants you to think.
No, it's based on the information. It's harder for people to hide these kinds of things. Like, there's always a court somewhere shutting down some subversive. What changed was they started keeping track of it, and that was good. But they didn't really keep track of it because it's still a closed room in the middle of nowhere, and who cares about those guys that don't even go to our church, right? So I'm saying that with technology, with all of the internet, all the 24/7 news cycle, the tweets, it's getting harder to hide these things. People have to truly justify the people they're abusing. Even when they have great justification to abuse the people, and the people that even should be abused, sometimes those people still win because they whine about it so well.
Why don't we just live stream all trials?
Yeah, that's where it's headed. That's the ultimate idea, that any person always can see exactly everything that was decided, not just the final ruling of the just judge, everything that was submitted. That's why it's a public record. But nobody reads all that shit because the lawyers write it, and they write it really boring so that nobody reads it because they're trying to lull everyone to sleep so that one of their arguments slips through the judge's perspective and wins.
Yeah, I would say like 99% of trials are probably pretty boring.
Yeah.
Well, do you think if
Am I right, counselor?
broadcasting all of them, I could see that like would easily lead into like witness
More
or
information
intimidation
better
of
than less
jurors.
information.
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
point. That's a good point, Luke.
No, but like look what happens.
Witness
with, like,
intimidation gets
Rittenhouse,
harder
like,
when we
what
can
happens-
observe people better. It's going to be like Big Brother. Pretty much George Orwell was right.
Yeah.
Although I do think that George Orwell should always be taken with a healthy dose of Aldous Huxley, because mostly the way we get there is by being lazy, drugging ourselves out, and buying into it as some kind of fulfilling thing when really we're just hedonistically destroying ourselves.
The Cosby Family?
No. A Brave New World.
Aldous.
Like, if I think this is how we would do it, Lou. Maybe I'm just spitballing here, but if the courthouse is open to the public and they can sit in the gallery, then why can't everyone sit in the gallery, so to speak?
Yeah.
Right? You're just giving them a bigger gallery.
Exactly.
I get it,
Yeah.
but I just
Yeah,
think
but
it's like almost
they're doing Zoom already, but
ushering in-
they're doing Zoom already, but you can't record the Zoom rooms.
Lou was talking. Can you let him finish?
You can see it. You can record it.
Oh, David, I was talking. Can you not interrupt my interruption, David?
I think it brings in the idea of like democracy for criminal trials, which you guys, democracy is super gay. Like I think you're really but I think
No.
okay, unless you could somehow prevent the jurors from seeing any sort of information about what people are thinking about them or what they're leaning during. Unless you could prevent that, I don't know if that would be. I think it should be available.
You gotta understand,
No, I
most
don't-
of
I
these
don't
trials
think
are
it's
not
about-
jury trials. All these trials are happening without juries, and that's the big problem. Most of these things should be jury trials, but they're not. I got denied jury trial for wage garnishment. That's not legal. How can a judge do that without a jury giving me my fucking trial? It's bullshit.
May not be criminal. May not be
Criminal.
better lawyer.
No, there's criminal code,
No.
right?
Juries are for determining facts. If there are no facts in question, then there's no jury needed.
Right.
No, I expect to give my fucking opinion to the jury so they can give me their adjudication and say yes or no. This is bullshit.
Jury
They don't want your opinion, they want facts.
So
Nobody cares about
I have a question for Mixed. So Mixed, I got a question for you. So this is something that I'm really
He's asking
wondering.
for a
and I
friend.
think yeah. So
Yes, he is Jewish. So,
Yes, there is for some reason a law in Saudi that you can't own more than 6 dildos. I don't know why you're asking me, but yes.
yeah, and also stop asking him about his circumcision.
Hold on.
It's for a friend.
Yeah, sorry, you're in the Matrix, King. And Diego, actually, instead of going to law school, Diego, you should just have a circumcision. That's what I think you're really looking for. And McZack, can you please let Diego know what it's like to do an adult circumcision?
I don't know. I've never done an adult circumcision. I knew a kid in my high school that I believe did it when he was like 13 because he came from Poland, and in Poland he wasn't able to circumcise. And I met a couple guys on this app that volunteered they were in the same room at the same time. They had an adult circumcision. So they had a better comparison of sex with and without foreskin. So,
and what was the big report?
They said that it felt a bit better to them when they had the foreskin on, but he found that his girlfriend greatly preferred the circumcised penis, and everyone was theorizing that it was from the smell.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus.
So what we're trying to discuss here technically is the removal of the foreskin, technically a labia reduction surgery to prevent the smegma buildup in individuals like David having smegma buildup. David, do you have smegma buildup on your uncircumcised penis?
This is crazy.
David, do you have smegma buildups from time to time on your uncircumcised penis? Because it's my opinion that people who want to go to law school later on in life, they just fail to see that the law is psychologically fulfilling. But it's really, what you need to do is the circumcision and study the Torah. Rabboinoi Shalom.
I see. He's saying, really, you have to ask yourself, is there something missing in me for why suddenly you want to change your path in life? No.
Yes, this is self-actualization in a nutshell. This is the unincorporated C.G. Jung shadow work that you have yet to complete, Rabboinoi Shalom.
I see what you're there with the nutshell. Like a foreskin for the nut. I get it.
I think it's too on the nose.
Don't discount actually circumcision, because I've been speaking with 2 Clown House people over the past 40 hours that actually did adult circumcisions, and they claimed that it was due to body dysmorphia. But let's be honest, smegma is what we're trying to reduce here. And so, David, please stay muted.
I touched I was just going to say, I talked to a Muslim guy who said that they circumcised him at 6 years old in his home, as his family all held him down.
Muhammad's
Yikes.
Yeah, his whole family held him down.
I
It was
really,
one
I
of the
really
most
don't know
traumatic
how I feel
experiences.
about circumcision, like, for older people. Seems, like, I get adults. I don't know about kids at 6 or 13.
Yeah.
I get it if they're Jews.
Do you think that's religious extremism and people should be imprisoned for holding down a 13-year-old son and you know, brutally cutting away at his cock? And let me ask you this, when you have a circumcision, technically shouldn't an erect penis be easier to operate on instead of the flaccid penis?
Let the record
I
show
doubt it.
Republican keeps talking
I feel like it
about
would
like
bleed more
kids'
now.
penis. Let the record show.
Let the record show that David is human smegma in a clown house form.
Noted.
And I gotta say, that was one of my favorite movies. There was something sexual about Howard the Duck. What was it, the sexual tension between Howard the Duck and April, the girl that Howard the Duck was secretly fucking? What was it about that anime? Why was Howard the Duck so sexual?
What other penises do you want to talk about?
Are you talking about 12-year-old penises, David? What is up with your PTR? Isn't that a great movie? I love that movie.
Howard the Duck and Jojo the Rabbit.
What was that sexual tension in Howard the Duck? I can't quite place it.
Yeah, that was awkward when I was a kid. That was definitely awkward.
It was implied they had sex, but it wasn't shown they had sex.
Yeah, but wasn't she in her panties?
She was, playing with his hair. That's for sure.
Yeah. That was fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he actually had like an orgasm or something? Because there's a scene where Howard is like, oh, like, April, stop fucking me.
Yeah.
I don't remember that movie. I just remember I didn't like it.
Was that your favorite scene?
Yeah.
David loves that movie, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't PTR.
Right.
Oh, that's why it came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the cultural significance. I wasn't really thinking about this.
Actually, hey, everybody, if you want to, like, I'm not a Broadway kind of guy, but I got invited to go see Back to the Future.
Ooh.
Highly recommend.
Oh, really? It's good.
No, Marty. The Libyans wanted me to build them a bomb. Instead of I gave them a shiny ball filled with used pinball parts. Let me show you how it works.
They don't bring up the Libyans because of the Muslim hate or whatever. Yeah, they cut it out.
Oh no, that's the greatest line.
But wait, does Doc die? Like, is there any reason for Marty to get back?
He does die.
Okay, what kills him if not the Libyans?
Why do the Libyans have like a rocket launcher? That's so
his
random.
radiation suit. His radiation suit is penetrated, and he starts dying from a radiation.
Oh, that's lame. It doesn't even make sense. It's not like, my suit is torn. That's it. I'm dying.
He starts glowing. He starts like glowing green.
That's silly.
And then Marty gets in he says, I'm going to go and get help. And so he jumps in the DeLorean, and then it accidentally goes back in time.
Right.
This is breaking news. This is Jefferson Perkins.
I know. They should have kept it.
Because he gets shot.
Because he's like, oh my God, they found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Marty.
I know.
Much better.
Everyone remembers that line.
Who do you think? The Libyans. Yeah, that's
what were you doing with a rocket launcher?
Who do you think?
I don't know, but it all makes sense in the movie. It's my favorite. But you know what's really cool about the pyrotechnics in that show?
I think
I bet, I think probably didn't do
the DeLorean flies, by the way.
Oh wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
At the end, it just like flies through
One